So in this video, I'll be creating a chatbot who is my personal assistant and trained on my personal data. So if you go to ChatGPT, you can ask multiple questions to it, but it doesn't know anything about your life, anything personal to you. So imagine having a bot who knows everything about you. It's pretty cool, but at the same time scary as well. Someone knows more about you than you do. In this video, we'll be creating a bot who is trained on my WhatsApp chat and my personal diary and knows more about me than I do. You guys can further fine tune this bot and make it better and more personalized to you. In this video I'll be using Azure OpenAI APIs, LangChain and Python to achieve this. So I'll be explaining what LangChain is and how do we call these APIs and everything in the code. But let's first start with the idea behind the bot and yeah, what we are trying to achieve. So the problem here we are solving is training ChatGPT or LLM on your custom data. Okay, so if you go on ChatGPT right now, you can provide it some context in its prompt. Okay, so I can say answer. Okay, one second. Answer the question based. Okay, I'm making so much mistakes based on this prompt, based on this context. Sorry. So the context is Sahil is a YouTuber and loves to code. Okay. Now question I'll be passing is who is Sahil? Okay, it is taking time. Sahil is someone who is a YouTuber and enjoys coding. Okay, so basically passing the context solved the problem. So now what if I pass all my WhatsApp chats and all my personal diary data to this prompt? Okay, this will tell everything, this will give all the answers based on that. But there's a problem. Okay, there's a token limit to this prompt. You cannot pass more than 3000 tokens to it, which means you cannot pass more than 2600 words, which is including output and input. So this is where the problem comes, and this is what we need to solve over here in this video. For this, we'll be using embeddings. Okay, we'll convert all our data, all our documents into embeddings. Embeddings are nothing but it converts our text data into vectors. You can read more about it on OpenAI. There's a great article. So we'll be using those embeddings. On a high level, these will help us compress our text. Okay. Now let's go into the architecture before we deep dive into the code. So starting off with this diagram, so what we'll do is we'll have some documents. These will be nothing but our personal data. It could be WhatsApp chat history, it could be Facebook documents or anything like that, which is personal to you. Now we'll use OpenAI Embeddings API, which will convert the text of these documents to embeddings. Okay, embeddings I already told you are vectors, which are compressed form of this text. Now what we'll do is we store these embeddings in a database, which is called vector database. So we have specific databases for storing, these embeddings, which are also called vector stores or vector databases. Once we have that vector database, now the user will ask the question. Uh, the question could be anything. It could be, summarize my chat, or it could be something interesting like what birthday gift I should buy for my mom after looking these chats, or it could be reply to my mom if she asks me this. So it has multiple applications, anything you can imagine. Okay, you can ask it. Now, once we have the question, we'll pass it to the vector database that we created, and it will return chunk of text similar to question asked. Okay, this is where we are solving the problem. Instead of passing all the documents, we first fetch the text related to it and pass only 3 to 4 paragraphs, not all the documents. And we do this by creating embeddings and the database. Okay, once we have this chunk of data, we'll use it as context, okay? And the question the user asked, we'll combine both of them and pass it in the prompt and make a API call to the LLM like we did in ChatGPT. Okay, we pass two things, context plus question. This is what we'll do and make the API call to the LLM and it will give us the answer. Okay, so this is where we are solving the problem, okay, of token limit. This is how we overcome this problem. And once we have solved this problem, now we can go to coding part.
So okay, I've already installed Spider and Anaconda. So I usually use Anaconda to build my Python programs. You can go to anaconda.com and install Anaconda. And once you have Anaconda, you can search for Anaconda prompt and you will get something like this. Okay, so in this prompt, you can create a virtual environment. So why do we create virtual environment? Because whenever you start a project, you have different dependency for it from the previous project. So it's better if each project is in different virtual environment so that there is no dependency conflict. Okay, so I've created this WhatsApp chatbot virtual environment and then I opened Spider, which is the IDE. Okay, this is the ID. You can see I've already coded everything. Uh, so first thing you can see is I'm importing Azure OpenAI and that too from LangChain. So explain these two things first. So we can go to portal.azure.com. This is where all the APIs are exposed. So first thing we need to do is create a resource. So you need to give the subscription ID, region, name, and everything. But okay, so here's the catch. First time you'll come to this portal, you will not be able to access it because you have to fill a form to get access to this. So I'll create a separate video on it, how to get access to this. But if you do not get the access, you don't need to get worried. You can use OpenAI's APIs. Okay, you can just sign up and use these APIs. I use Azure ones because I already have some credits, and also it's easy to, deploy or productionize these apps which you make on Azure portal itself. Now we'll see the resource I've already created. This is the WhatsApp OpenAI chat training. I've already created. Now, few things we'll require to access the API. One is keys and endpoint. So if you go to these keys, it will give you a key which you have to put over here. Then you need to mention another environment variable that is Open API type, that is Azure. If you are using OpenAI APIs, so you don't need to mention Azure since we are using Azure OpenAI APIs. So we need to mention this. And third thing you need to mention is OpenAPI base, which you will get from here. Okay, just copy this and paste it over there. Okay, once you have this set up, you next thing you need to do is go to the OpenAI Studio. This is like a playground where you can try out things. Okay, so once you open this Azure OpenAI Studio, you need to create a deployment. I have already created OpenAI WhatsApp chat, and you need to select the model name over there when you are creating it. So I have used Text DaVinci 003, which is very powerful. Once you have created this, you need to copy this name, which will be required in code. Now we can jump back to the code. What we are doing is we are first creating the LLM. We are initializing the LLM. So one thing I forgot to explain is LangChain. This is the library which we are using, and through it we are importing Azure OpenAI. So we can go and check this out what this library is. I've already opened. So you can go to LangChain. So yeah, LangChain is a framework for developing applications powered by language models. So it has different modules which will help us. First is like importing the models, which we have already done, Azure OpenAI models. Then it helps us creating good prompts. It also has a memory feature. It has indexes. Indexes are nothing but the vector stores we'll use. They use these indexes. So you can go to the documentation and read about it. I'll explain whatever we'll be using in the code. So let's jump back to the code. Now, since I've initialized it, I passed three parameters: deployment name, which we took from Azure portal. Second thing is temperature. Temperature is nothing but it defines the randomness of the model. So if I pass zero point 0.9 as temperature, it means that the model will be very random. Each time I ask the same question, it will generate a different output. If the temperature is zero, then it will generate the same output for the same question. Okay, next thing is max tokens, the number of tokens of the reply we'll get from this model. So I have set it to 100, which means we'll get around 80 to 90 words. So I did this because more the tokens will be, more this API call will cost to me. So since it is a demo, so I have given less tokens. Now giving a phrase like what I want to ask, it is same thing. In ChatGPT prompt, we go and ask things, right? We can ask similar things over here. So I've asked write a tagline for an ice cream shop. So when I print it, it will generate a response for me. So let's go and run this. So let's see like what response it generates. Tempt your taste buds with our delicious ice cream. Yeah, so it was a good tagline. Now, second thing we want to do is that I explained in that diagram, okay, which is the custom data. Okay, we have some documents, we want the context from that document. So I've imported few things from LangChain, which I'll explain when required. So first thing we'll do is again create another model instance. Now we have LLM2. Here we had LLM. Here I haven't defined temperature and max tokens. That's fine. Next thing we do is use directory loader. Okay, so directory loader does nothing but it loads the documents from this directory. So if I go to this directory, I'll show you. I'll go to this directory. So okay, I have a chart over here. Hmm, So this is the chart I exported from my WhatsApp. It's with my imaginary girlfriend. Okay, so you can import multiple charts and you can also include data of your personal diary over here if you have that in text form. Now I loaded the document. So all these loaders and loading thing is provided by LangChain. That's why it's very powerful. It helps us, easily do these kinds of complex tasks. Now next thing we need to do is create a text splitter. Okay, we created an object for character text splitter. We'll do is we'll split the documents using this text splitter. Okay, so the question will be why do we need to split the text? So as you have noticed, we cannot pass large data into the prompt of ChatGPT, okay, because there's a max token limit. So basically what we need to do is we need to separate out these documents into chunks, okay. If I implement all this, I'll show you what happened with text splitter. Okay, so it will take some time because it's loading a large document of my chats and finally splitting it. So let's wait for it. Okay. Okay, so done. Now let's see this text variable. Okay. So I passed one document, but it split it to around 139 documents where I gave chunk size as 1000. So basically, each document will contain 1000 or less than 1000 words. And how it separated it? It's separated by default on \n, that is enter. Now, once we have these documents, we need to convert them into embeddings. Okay, so for that we'll be using OpenAI embeddings, which again I have imported from LangChain library. So here I've passed chunk size equal to 1. So this is a bit weird and there's this limitation of it. So basically if you are using OpenAI APIs, you don't need to pass this chunk size, but right now there's a bug in the code, so we have to pass chunk size equal to 1, which doesn't make much sense. So once you have these embeddings, then what you need to do is you need to create the vector store. Okay, so I'm using Chroma. Okay, so if you go to Google, you can find Chroma DB. Okay, so this is a vector store which I'm using. So from chroma.from documents, I converted those text and embeddings into a vector store. And now finally what I'm doing is I'm using vector dbqa from chain type. So what this chain does is basically when I explained you in architecture diagram, so this part is black box to us, which LangChain does for us. So we ask the question, it will directly send this question to this database and return chunk of text similar to question asked, and finally create a prompt for us that contains the context plus question and pass it to the LLM. So I had to manually do all of this and write in code. So this is where the power of LangChain comes. Okay, it provides us with these chains where you can just use a function and pass these parameters. So now what we are doing is we are using this run function, which is part of this chain class. Okay, uh, so we'll pass the question over here, which we need to ask, like we do in ChatGPT. So what I'll do is I'll tell him, talk to me like you are my imaginary girlfriend in her style. So basically, it will talk like my imaginary girlfriend, how she used to talk. And I asked him, trip par kahan chale, which in English means like where should we go on trip. Let's run this and find out what it answers. I hope it makes sense. See, I already ran it, so it ran twice and gave us two results. So in second one it was more logical. अभी तो गोवा जाना है, but अगर तू चाहता है तो अमृतसर भी चल सकते हैं. So in English it said, let's go to Goa, but if you want we can go to Amritsar as well. So yeah, basically the result was good. What else I can ask is what kind of gift I should give to my imaginary girlfriend on our birthday. Please tell by analyzing our chats. Okay, so I run this. Let's see what it answers. Is you and a budget of around gifts? You could consider a second voucher for Amazon, a box of chocolates, or a toaster. Okay, so yeah, I probably will give these two things, but I won't give a toaster. So sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like it adds some things, it starts hallucinating, which obviously is a limitation of these LLMs. So I can ask tons of questions like what kind of relationship I have with my imaginary girlfriend. So let's try this as well. What kind I have with my girlfriend. Okay, let's see what it answers. Okay, so sometimes it gives error also. Okay, so this kind of errored out in this case. Uh, but yeah, so as you can see, like it's not very accurate, but at the same time, it has millions of possibility. Like if you train it good, if you pass good chats, meaningful chats, meaningful data, it will definitely give you good response. So this is one of the projects I implemented. I have implemented a lot of other projects. If you want to see how I implemented them, just follow me on YouTube and also follow me on my Instagram. uh, yep, that's it. Thank you.